Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the Crypto Crow. It is currently 11:17 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and Corona is definitely wreaking havoc. Excuse me. I wanted to. I'm sitting around and I'm thinking to myself, this is a really depressing situation. As we were starting to get some run-ups and runs up, and things were starting to look good. We're preparing for the halving. Things were looking good, and then Corona pops, and it's just pandemonium. It's a temporarily scary situation in that I believe that come the 1st of May, this will likely just be a non-factor. I personally believe that the traditional stock markets, the crypto markets, I believe that all of this stuff will rebound come May. I mean, that's what I think. And I am still, even though I will admit, a part of me is, I guess you could say a part of me is moon boyish to the extent that I still believe there's a very solid chance of us seeing a $12,000 to $14,000 Bitcoin by the halving. Because realistically, if we don't, that could be a really big issue with miners. I mean, right now, I forget exactly where it was when I worked it up, but a $5,000 Bitcoin does not cut it. A $5,000 Bitcoin does not cut it for mining profitability right now. Here's the thing. Everybody talks about the halving of mining yield, but the reality is Bitcoin's difficulty just about doubles every 6 months as it is. Now, the only reason that's not referred to or it's not talked about much is, I don't even know if people realize it. I went through and charted it out, and I was calculating the difficulty, and I mean, pretty much about every 6 months like clockwork. But I don't think people discuss it that much because it's not necessarily built into the algorithm. It's based off of how many people are mining, and at what power, and how many hashes are being crushed through. So, I mean, it's a scary situation because, in order for the Bitcoin network to really survive this thing, there's going to have to be some turnover it's going to have to turn up. And, I believe that it will, because there are still a lot of people that are holding a lot of Bitcoin, and they have the money. They have the money to drive the price up anytime they want to. It's just really difficult to drive the price up when it's just fear everywhere, right? And so we'll see how it plays out, but I'm very confident. Bitcoin came out in 2009, and it's only continued to rise since then. And it's risen in a market that was not very big. There weren't a lot of people that really knew about Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies until 2017. It's early for me. I basically woke up after a long night, and I've been taking a break. I mean, it's like anywhere you go, there's nobody anywhere. The people are posting pictures of downtown New York, and it's empty. I mean, it looks like they're shooting a zombie apocalypse movie. There's just nobody anywhere. My wife and I and our daughter went to a new restaurant yesterday just to get out of the house. And there were a few people there, but the streets were very, very empty. I would say 2% of the typical traffic in our area. So it's very gloomy. It's people are afraid to go out. People are afraid to do anything. You can't buy toilet paper anywhere. You can't buy hand sanitizer anywhere. You can't buy just about anything, really. And it's kind of disgusting in a way because, like, you've got people out there just buying all the toilet paper for themselves. And it's just like, man, you really see the selfishness of your fellow man. Like, you see the worst in people during situations like this. And it's just, it's a scary time, but I also wholeheartedly believe it will pass soon. I don't think this is going to last all that long. As the weather gets warmer, which, some people are saying, oh, well, that's a myth or whatever. But look, this happens every cycle, every viral cycle. Come April, things start turning around. And because the weather starts getting nicer, there are vaccines or there are whatever. And I think that once this concludes and people see that, okay, there's light at the end of the tunnel where things are going to get better, I believe that the markets are going to absolutely explode. And I think a part of that explosion, we're going to see, crazy high spikes in the traditional stock market. I believe we're going to see very high spikes in the crypto market as people get back in. People are going to be excited to be getting back in, likely lower than they originally sold. I am a hodler. I'm a holder. I'm about accumulating and averaging down when I have the funds to do that. And so I don't worry so much. And, just for those of you that don't necessarily understand, maybe you're new to any of this, but averaging down is a very simple principle. It's basically saying, look, if I bought Bitcoin at $8,000 and then it goes down to $5,000 and I held through it, well, then I'm going to buy more Bitcoin at $5,000 and average my overall buy price at around 6,500 or whatever it calculates to be. So that way, when the market does recover, I'm at profit for my total holdings faster. I don't have to wait for the price to get back to 8,000 to be back at profit. Once it hits 6,500, I've averaged down my buy-in price. Okay, so that's what averaging and really in crypto especially, it's typically much wiser to average in and out of a position because of the volatility. You're looking for an average price in or average price out based on what kind of time frame you're looking to get in or out of the market. But I'm actually going to be talking today about this. This is Robinhood. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm doing this video for a couple reasons. One, if you've never heard of Robinhood, I think you're going to really love it. And two, I'm hoping that this video is at least interesting enough that you click the link in the description and get us both some free stock shares. Okay. Now, before you start freaking out, if you're a big follower of my channel and you're thinking Crow's capitulating, Crow's getting back into the traditional markets, this and that. No, that's not necessarily true. What I do believe is the blood in the streets is so thick that rather than freak out and run away, as gross as it may sound, I plan to bathe in it. Okay, because I'm looking to get into as many different positions as I can while the pricing is amazing. And the Robinhood app came to mind because this is what I used when I first got into investing, like period. I used to trade penny stocks using the Robinhood app because it's zero fees. You don't pay fees with this. You can buy Bitcoin without paying fees. You can buy Dividend Stocks without paying fees. And so I thought this is a really good opportunity. The only catch is, well, with regards to crypto, is that there are only about, I think, maybe 25 or 30 US states that if you live in those states, then you can buy crypto. In Kentucky, you can't. In Ohio, you can. So it just depends on the licensing that Robinhood has acquired for crypto and, money service businesses and that. I don't know what the hell is going on, but you can't buy crypto using Robinhood anywhere in the world. But when you go into the app, it'll show you. You can click learn more. And you'll know if you can, because if you use the app and you complete your account sign up and all that stuff, if you go to cryptocurrencies, if there's no buy button, then you can't buy it in your state yet. So that sucks. But you can buy traditional stocks. Now, I'm kind of doing this video as an homage, I guess you could say, or because, and I talk about him a lot on my channel, but my Uncle Mike, it's still difficult for me to talk about him. It's still kind of, it's been years now, but, because of him, I got into investing in dividend stocks. And that was his whole thing. That was everything that he was all about. And it treated him very, very well. And using an app like Robinhood, basically, you can go in and buy dividend stocks. And when you get dividend yield, it just shows up in your portfolio. And then you can use that extra money to either buy more shares of that same dividend stock and continue to build and accumulate over time, or you can use those funds to buy crypto. You can use it to buy whatever you want. When the dividends are paid, it's money for you to do with as you please. And because of the price, I'm looking at it as I do want to start building a dividend portfolio again, only because the prices are so stupid low, and they may get even lower. The markets are closing. I think the markets were open all of like 3 minutes or something before they were closed again, because just everybody was continuing to try dumping, and it's just insanity. But this commission-free options trading, you've got Robinhood Crypto, buy and sell crypto, Ethereum, Dogecoin, and other cryptocurrencies 24/7 and commission-free with Robinhood Crypto. And so I encourage you to check the app out. Especially if you haven't never used it before. It really is a fun app. And there's a lot of different functionality to help you on your way. Now, if you're going to get into dividend stocks, it depends on what your budget is, okay? Some dividend stocks are very, very cheap. Some of them are very, very expensive. And I hold on. I just pulled this up. Best dividend stocks in 2020. 5 strong yield stocks beating the S&P 500. Now, granted, this came out on the 10th. Lockheed Martin, automatic data processing, Best Buy, Honeywell, and Paychex. Count among the best dividend stocks in 2020, yoking solid yields to strong performance. Lockheed Martin and the other top dividend stocks can give a big boost to growth and income portfolios. And this goes into, like their dividend yield. Now, the dividend yield, if you were to just, if you were to go into the S&P 500, you're looking at 2%. Lockheed Martin, 2.7% annual dividend yield. ADP 2.4. Best Buy is the high. Paychex is the highest at 3.4. But Best Buy's at 3.3%. Honeywell's at 2.4. So this is showing a 5-year percentage return. With Honeywell actually doing pretty well at 58%. ADP, Lockheed Martin giving you 77% 5-year return. So those look pretty good, but those are all, I think, fairly expensive as well. Lockheed Martin stock offers a $9.6 annual dividend per share for a 2.7% yield. So I'll maybe if this video does do well and everybody starts downloading the app and then they're like, hey, we really want to get into dividends. Can you help us out a little bit? I can start adding, because I'm not necessarily one to just buy a stock and watch it rise. I really do like the idea of, if I buy a stock, it's going to send me money. I like the idea of you can build a passive income stream very easily. Well, I don't want to say easily. It depends on how fast you can accumulate these dividend stocks and build your portfolio. But you can accumulate a very solid dividend stock portfolio and one that continues to pay you. I mean, some people have put a lot of money into dividend stocks and then they just live off the dividend yield. So to each their own. But like I said, you could put some money into a portfolio while the pricing is cheap. Let me see. There are other apps too. Dividend stock list. Let me see what comes up here. Oh, I spelled it wrong. Here we go. Oops. Okay, dividend stock list, dividend value builder. Let's see what this says. I'm just kind of exploring a little bit. I didn't want to wait too long to go online today. Dividend stock list. No, this isn't what I was looking for. Maybe I'll find some really good resources for dividend stocks if everybody's interested. If you like the video and you leave a good comment and you're like, hey, yeah, help us find some good resources. I will definitely, because I plan on getting back into this a bit. I mean, there's no reason not to at this point with the prices where they're at and likely continuing to go down a bit. So I feel like, we've got the rest of this month basically to enjoy lockdowns and, wiping your butt with your hands. I'm kidding. But it's just, this is just pandemonium and it's insane. And it's like, I'm left constantly looking for, more light at the end of the tunnel. And, I think honestly for me, I need distractions. It's like when times are like this and everywhere you look, it's doom and gloom. I'm such a worrywart and I'm such a problem solver at the same time. Like if a problem comes up, I have to resolve it and I have to figure out a very positive resolution, or I can't sleep. And that's one of the reasons why I struggle sleeping so much and I go to bed so late every night. It's just I'm constantly looking for distractions, and I think the Robinhood app is going to be a fun distraction, and getting back into it is kind of exciting. And so I plan on doing more segments in my crypto videos related to traditional dividend stocks in my videos. If you guys are on board with me, click the link in the description. I'm pretty sure it gives you a free stock and it'll give me a free stock. And that will be really fun for me to just kind of go through and you can kind of scratch off what stocks you're getting and stuff like that. And then I will show you what I'm doing with those free stocks and what dividend stocks I put those funds into. I'm pretty sure I can sell those and get some dividend stocks and things. But I'm going to start doing some pretty good digging around on dividend stocks to kind of let everybody know, because some dividend stocks, you can get pretty high yield dividend stocks, but they might be a little more volatile. So it's really, when you're talking about dividend stocks, it's definitely best to go into companies that have been around a while, that are, like Procter and Gamble, Lockheed Martin, things like that. The problem is those stocks are expensive, but with Robinhood, you can do fractions. Introducing fractional shares. Invest in thousands of stocks with as little as $1. It's just like Robinhood to me is the end all be all. I just love the app. Now, I will point out something. Robinhood class action prompted by system outage. So they are currently involved in a class action lawsuit, but I don't think it's going to go anywhere. Ultimately, it's one or more customers that are pissed off because the Robinhood app was shut down with the market and people couldn't liquidate, or they couldn't basically trade. And so they're claiming losses and they're blaming Robinhood. But in the Robinhood terms of service and all of their agreements that you basically have to agree to when you're using the app, it basically says we don't guarantee 100% access. The app could go down, servers things happen, and we're not going to be liable for that. So use it at your risk, kind of thing. And, of course, people, they always try to come out after the fact and spend a bunch of money. And then they get lawyers that say, oh, no, you could win this case. And the lawyers don't give a shit because they typically don't have anything better to do than to hook some poor bastard into thinking he's going to make a whole bunch of money by pushing a case. The lawyer's using him to build his name and reputation, even though he looks like a moron. It's just like, it's all this stuff and then all for naught, right? But people will try. But I don't really think anything's going to come of this. I think Robinhood will be just fine. Worst case scenario, maybe they settle out of court or something like that. But who knows? I think Robinhood will be around. It will be just fine. So I'm not really concerned about that. But I definitely plan on getting deeper into dividend stocks. And I hope you do too. It'll be fun. Greed and fear index right now is at 9. It was at like a 12. It went up a bit and then it came back down. Price keeps jumping. It keeps jumping around the $5,000 mark. It's ticking up a bit. Cool. But it did here too. And it did here too. So, look, until we get back to like 7,000 or 7,500 or something like that, I'm just going to consider this trend to continue. And honestly, I'm going to assume that this price trend down, or at least sideways, is going to continue throughout the month of March. We could get the volatility, so we just kind of bounce like an EKG line and through to April. But at this point, I'm not even going to pretend to have a clue what's going to happen in the market. It is what it is. I know that exchanges are making it difficult because as people go and they try to liquidate positions in fear, exchanges are basically shutting down for maintenance, right? Because they don't want everybody liquidating everything on the exchanges either, even though it's good for them. But the thing of it is that for every seller, there has to be a buyer. So there are people that are running around dumping all this stuff. And then there are people buying it, and they're buying it at crazy discounts. So, keep that in mind. For every seller, there has to be a buyer for that particular asset. And there are people out there who they have these crazy low buy orders in because they're like, you know what? I'm just going to buy the dips. I'm going to buy the fear. I'm going to bathe in the blood in the streets. And I'm okay with that. And I am too, personally. I mean, look, if you're going to freak out enough to just continue dumping your assets and everything that you've been building all this time, you're going to create those taxable events just to buy back in and start that capital gains clock from scratch. More power to you. But I think I like, what is it, like a 13% capital gains tax, much better than a 39 or whatever it is. I'll ride this out and I'll wait patiently. I mean, it sucks. It does suck, but I believe that this is temporary. And when things come back, a lot of people are going to be really, really sad. Sad, sorry, sore is basically 3 words I'm trying to push out at the same moment. So, we'll see, but they're going to be really upset that they panic sold. And I see this all the time. I get people that message me, hey, it looks like now's time to sell. Now's time to get out, And it's like, I want to tell these people, man, you're crazy. Because what happens is oftentimes when I see people get out of the market, I mean, a week or two later, it just, boom, it blows up and it goes through a really heavy spike. And I'm like, man. It's like the market anticipates people that does this and that do this sort of thing. And I don't know. To each their own. Everybody has their reasons. But I'll see you tomorrow. I'm definitely going to be reading through the comments of this video. I know that's not a real heavy video, just me kind of talking a little bit because let's face it, there's not a whole hell of a lot else going on in the market unless I just want to keep talking about the same thing everybody else is. I did catch wind of a particular individual that was banned from Twitter. I'm not even going to name names or anything, but I'm like, it's such a tough call. Some people are arguing, Twitter shouldn't be censoring people. And then other people are arguing, people like him, you should. He's a bad dude. I mean, he's all around bad dude. I mean, he really misleads the public on just about every front. And, you know, I've let's just say, you know, I'm very privy to articles he's written that are just full of made up garbage. And then he links that stuff around like it's gospel. He does a lot of videos where he's just bullying people, and just people are like, oh, but he really does great research. No, he doesn't. I've been the butt of his great research. It's all nonsense. He just finds whatever like clickbaity, controversial nuggets he can, and he ties them together with a bunch of made up shit. And the problem is he's built quite a career out of it. And, you know, he was recently banned from Twitter. And, look, it's a shame to see people like that, because he hasn't always been the way what he's become. I think he really, you know, some people, they put out so much bullshit that they start to believe it themselves. I had a friend that was like that, just a pathological liar, just pathological. And, you know, he lied so much that it got to the point where he believed his own nonsense. And then I start attributing, and I start kind of thinking, well, man, imagine taking somebody like that, putting them on YouTube, and then them building a following full of knuckleheads that think everything this guy says is gospel. And then that just further perpetuates that mentality. Like, this is okay. Not only is this okay, but this is what's making me, you know, and that can really make you nutty. And you know, I talked to the guy I'm referring to. I talked to somebody who used to be really good friends with him, and he's like, dude, he just went off the deep end, man. I can't even talk to him anymore. And, I don't know, maybe it'll be a rude awakening, and guys like him, I was going to say, maybe it'll help him kind of like mature a little bit and learn, but I don't see that happening. You know, look, I don't, and again, I'm not here to point fingers specifically at people. But you know, it's a shame. Do I agree with Twitter, banning him or suspending his account or whatever? Honestly, I want to say yes, because like, you just should not be allowed to do the shit you do to people. But the flip side to that is, I have to say, no, I don't agree with it. And it sucks because people like him should not have a platform to just spew nonsense and lies, you know, and just tear people down and bully people. But at the same time, if you can do that to someone like him, then you could also do that to somebody who's truly honest and maybe just does something that rubs people the wrong way. And then you have a whole cult following of people trying to get you deplatformed. I mean, look at Alex Jones, man. Like, and it's like, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. I wish there were other ways to police people like this. But, you know, at the same time, it's like, I feel like everybody should be playing nice. I mean, there's just no reason for, you know, pushing dirt and making up shit and just trying to create problems for everybody around you. Like, there's just no reason to do that. But I don't know. I don't think people like that should necessarily be banned. I don't even know if it's temporary or if it's, I don't know what the term is. I don't know if it's for good or if it's like a temporary, like, this is your warning type thing. I don't know. I would personally like to see, here's the thing too, man. It's like, guys like him could be such powerful forces, like, for good, if they just got their head out of their ass. Like, I think greed sets in and ego sets in and this personal mission, this drive. And then, you know, your ego gets so big that, you know, anytime anybody says anything negative, then they're a target and you want to attack them. And it's so childish. And it's like, at what age do people grow out of that? Apparently it's different for everybody, but I don't know. It's definitely a slippery slope, but anyway, I'm just kind of rambling at this point. So check out the link in the description. Help us both get some free stock. Let's have some fun. See what we can collect And I'll be doing some really cool dividend stock videos here in the very near future. I might even make this whole week about it. I don't know. It just kind of depends on the comments. Like, what do you guys want? Do you want me to just kind of repeat everything everybody else is saying about the crypto market, or do we want to dive a little deeper into something new that maybe you are not familiar with yet? Let me know in the comments. I will be reading, I will be commenting or replying, and that's it. Grow your coins. I'll see you soon. Thanks, guys.